Before we begin, a quick and important disclaimer. The information provided in this video series is for educational and entertainment purposes only. It does not constitute formal legal, financial, tax, or psychological advice. Family law, data privacy regulations, and digital asset tracking vary significantly by state jurisdiction and are subject to rapid legislative changes. Viewers must conduct their own due diligence, evaluate potential outcomes based on historical trends, and consult with a licensed attorney or certified financial professional regarding their specific circumstances. In the United States, a marriage ends approximately every 36 seconds, totaling roughly 24,000 divorces per week. But behind this well-documented historical statistic lies a terrifying, completely unexamined modern reality. The traditional divorce battleground of physical asset division, boardroom negotiations, and private investigators hiding in the shadows is officially dead. It has been replaced by a silent, hyper-sophisticated, and pervasive digital arena. Today, the modern American divorce journey does not begin in a law office. It begins in the cloud on local hard drives, through automated smart home logs, and within encrypted messaging applications. Every single swipe, every geotagged photo, every hidden Venmo transaction, and every seemingly deleted text message forms a permanent digital footprint that is actively reshaping family court outcomes across the country. Consider a recent case study involving a high-net-worth couple in modern suburban Atlanta. For 2 years prior to any formal legal filing, a complex digital trail was silently compiling. The husband believed his financial and personal operations were entirely confidential, protected by private browsing tabs and separate mobile devices. However, a single shared family cloud account, linked to an old tablet used by his child for schoolwork, was quietly syncing his location history, synchronized text messages, and real-time ledger updates for a hidden cryptocurrency portfolio. When the divorce proceedings initiated, the legal team utilized forensic data recovery to extract years of metadata, painting an undeniable picture of marital asset dissipation and hidden liquidity. This single digital oversight completely inverted the power dynamic of the litigation, resulting in a dramatic shift in property distribution and spousal support structures. This is not an isolated incident. It represents the baseline reality for modern couples navigating separation. The modern digital ecosystem acts as a permanent, immutable witness to our private lives, and when a relationship fractures, this data is weaponized with surgical precision. The core objective of this comprehensive 10-part analysis is to dissect the exact mechanics of this digital transformation, providing the modern United States audience with an exhaustive look at how technology alters the legal, financial, and psychological trajectory of marital dissolution. This masterclass addresses a critical knowledge gap that thousands of Americans face today: the profound misunderstanding of how digital evidence is gathered, interpreted, and leveraged within the contemporary legal framework. By examining historical trends, established case studies, and evolving technological paradigms, we will map out the complete life cycle of the modern digital divorce. This journey spans from the initial silent data gathering phase, through the complexities of digital discovery, to the final execution of digital asset division and social media non-disparagement enforcement. To understand the scope of this reality, one must first look at the demographic shifts occurring across the United States. Different generations interact with technology in distinct ways, creating highly specific vulnerabilities during a divorce. For instance, younger demographics such as millennials and Gen Z face an overwhelming challenge regarding their public-facing digital identities. For these individuals, relationships are deeply cataloged online, meaning that a separation requires a complex process of digital decoupling. This involves not just the emotional toll of erasing a shared online history, but navigating the legalities of joint digital businesses, shared streaming monetization, and social media platforms that generate tangible income. Conversely, when examining older demographics, such as Gen X or baby boomers, the digital risks shift toward hidden asset discovery. These demographics frequently grapple with complex corporate digital infrastructures, overlooked digital subscriptions, and multi-layered investment accounts that require specialized forensic accounting to uncover. Throughout this deep dive series, we will break down the exact step-by-step methodology used by modern legal teams and forensic analysts to audit a digital lifestyle. We will explore the legal friction between federal wiretapping statutes, such as the Electronic Communications Privacy Act, and the common practice of spousal data interception. Many individuals mistakenly believe that if they have access to a spouse's password, They have the legal right to download their emails or review their private messages. In reality, historical trends show that unauthorized access to protected electronic communications can result in severe evidentiary exclusion or even countersuits for privacy violations. We will examine how courts differentiate between legally admissible digital evidence and illegally obtained data, a distinction that frequently dictates the outcome of custody battles and asset division. Furthermore, we will analyze the evolving definition of marital assets in the digital age. Wealth is no longer confined to real estate, physical cash, and traditional brokerage accounts. Today, marital estates regularly feature fractional shares, automated investment algorithms, non-fungible tokens, digital real estate, and decentralized digital currencies. Tracking and valuing these assets presents an unprecedented challenge for family law courts. We will detail the specific forensic tools used to trace blockchain transactions, identify cold storage hardware wallets, and uncover hidden digital wealth that one party may attempt to shield from the discovery process. Beyond the financial and legal mechanics, this series will examine the psychological and behavioral patterns that technology accelerates during a relationship breakdown. The ease of digital communication often leads to impulsive, emotionally driven documentation. Text messages, emails, and direct messages sent in moments of anger become permanent exhibits in a court file, permanently influencing a judge's perception of a party's character and fitness for co-parenting. We will outline the strategic protocols that legal professionals advise to mitigate these risks, focusing on the transition to monitored co-parenting communication applications that standardize and professionalize interactions between separating parties. By detailing these potential outcomes and structural shifts, this analysis serves as a vital blueprint for understanding the modern landscape of relationship dissolution. This is a meticulous exploration of a world where your devices know more about your relationship than your closest confidants, and where the mastery of your digital footprint can entirely define your future stability. Over the next 9 parts of this series, we will unpack every layer of this digital matrix, equipping you with an objective, data-driven understanding of the modern American divorce journey. To map the initial phase of this digital matrix, we must examine the silent infrastructure that governs our daily lives. The unified cloud ecosystem. Imagine a typical corporate executive in 2026. Let us call him David, living in Chicago. David believes his personal communications are securely locked behind biometric authentication on his primary smartphone. What David overlooks is the profound level of device integration required by modern consumer electronics. When a device backs up to a cloud server, it does not merely save a static snapshot of active files. It preserves a comprehensive chronological archive of historical metadata. This includes deleted text message strings, applications that were uninstalled months prior, and background location logs generated by third-party applications running in the background. In family law proceedings across the United States, historical trends indicate that a significant percentage of foundational evidence is not recovered from a live, active device, but rather extracted from cloud backups that the user assumed were either overwritten or entirely private. Forensic technicians utilize specialized software to pull full system images from these cloud storage repositories, revealing a clear timeline of behavior, communication, and financial transactions that standard device interfaces hide from view. To understand how this works step by step, one must look at how mobile operating systems manage databases. Most modern smartphones store text messages, call logs, and application data in a format known as SQLite databases. When a user deletes a text message, the operating system does not immediately scrub the text from the storage chip. Instead, it marks the specific row in the database as unallocated space, meaning it is free to be written over by new data in the future. However, during a routine cloud backup, these unallocated spaces are frequently copied over within the database container file itself. A digital forensic examiner can download this cloud backup container, run a low-level hex editor or database parser, and reconstruct the exact text, timestamp, and recipient information of messages that the user thought vanished forever months ago. This data extraction process transforms a simple smartphone into an unedited transcript of a person's private life, available for legal scrutiny. Let us look at a highly detailed case study from early 2026 involving a couple named Sarah and Robert. They resided in a highly connected smart home environment in Seattle. Robert decided to initiate a separation but spent 6 months quietly reorganizing his personal assets and establishing an independent lifestyle before filing any formal legal paperwork. He assumed his movements and preparations were completely untraceable because he used a secondary, prepaid mobile device and conducted all sensitive conversations outside the marital home. However, the modern American household is an intricate web of Internet of Things devices. The family home utilized an interconnected mesh Wi-Fi network, a smart thermostat system, automated security cameras, and a modern electric vehicle with integrated telematics. When Sarah's legal team initiated the digital discovery process, they did not just request standard bank statements. They requested a comprehensive forensic download of the home router logs and smart device history. The data revealed that Robert's secondary, supposedly anonymous mobile device had automatically associated with the home Wi-Fi network every evening, logging its unique media access control address. The router logs recorded the exact millisecond that this unlisted device connected to the network, the volume of data it downloaded, and the specific external servers it communicated with. Furthermore, the smart thermostat logs indicated specific periods of low energy usage and localized temperature adjustments that correlated perfectly with vehicle telematics data from their shared electric SUV, proving that Robert was frequently traveling to an unlisted secondary property 3 hours away. The vehicle's onboard navigation system had cached the exact global positioning system coordinates, including latitude, longitude, and elevation data of this destination. This physical location data allowed forensic accountants to search local county property registries, eventually uncovering a luxury condominium purchased using corporate funds diverted from the marital estate. This case study demonstrates how the Internet of Things creates an inescapable digital net, turning ordinary household conveniences into precise forensic indicators that completely dismantle a carefully constructed cover story. Imagine if every step you took, every boundary you crossed, and every interaction you had was being quietly cross-referenced by an algorithm designed to optimize your user experience, but easily repurposed to audit your marital fidelity and financial transparency. This is the reality facing modern demographics, particularly within the Millennial and Gen Z cohorts in the United States. For these digital natives, the vulnerability lies heavily within fitness trackers, wearable biometrics, and shared digital subscriptions. Consider the step-by-step process of how a seemingly harmless wearable device becomes an exhibit in family court. A fitness tracker continuously records heart rate variability, sleep cycles, and physical exertion levels, syncing this data to a smartphone application, which then uploads it to a centralized server. In contested custody or alimony disputes, historical trends show that legal teams are increasingly subpoenaing these biometric datasets. If a party claims to be incapacitated or unable to maintain employment due to physical limitations, yet their synced biometric data demonstrates high-intensity physical activity at specific times, the evidentiary impact is devastating. Similarly, heart rate spikes synchronized with location data can be used to challenge a witness's timeline of events during crucial windows of time. For instance, if an individual claims they were asleep at home during a specific evening, but their fitness tracker records an elevated heart rate of 120 beats per minute along with geolocated step counts at 2 o'clock in the morning, the credibility of that individual is completely undermined in the eyes of the court. The demographic divergence becomes even more apparent when looking at older populations, such as baby boomers or Gen X, who are experiencing what sociologists categorize as gray divorce in 2026. For these demographics, the digital paper trail is often embedded within legacy desktop applications, automated email archiving folders, and shared family business networks. A spouse who has managed a family business for 30 years may believe that deleting a local folder on an office computer eliminates the record of a discretionary cash expenditure or an unauthorized transfer of shares. However, modern enterprise data storage operates on redundancy. Local deletions do not immediately purge data from the underlying magnetic or solid-state storage clusters. Instead, the operating system simply marks that sector as available for future writing. Until that sector is completely overwritten by new data, the original files remain completely intact and recoverable by a certified forensic examiner. Step-by-step data recovery involves mounting the storage drive in a read-only environment, executing file carving algorithms, and reconstructing fragmented file headers to restore financial ledgers, hidden emails, and deleted communication logs that were thought to be permanently erased. Furthermore, old business computers often maintain system logs known as link files and shellbacks, which track every time a specific folder or USB drive was accessed, providing a clear map of an individual's data manipulation efforts. This technological scrutiny extends deep into our transportation infrastructure. Modern vehicles are essentially rolling data centers, When an individual couples their smartphone to a vehicle's infotainment system via a universal serial bus cable or a wireless connection, a massive data transfer occurs instantly. The vehicle's internal storage modules cache the smartphone's complete contact directory, call history, text message logs, and frequently visited navigation destinations. If an individual is utilizing a rental vehicle or a corporate car to conduct private personal matters, thinking they are leaving no trace at home, they are actually depositing their entire digital identity directly into the vehicle's non-volatile memory modules. During a legal dispute, access to this vehicle data via specialized physical extraction tools can provide an unedited, highly accurate log of communication and movement that completely contradicts verbal testimonies. The infotainment system records not just the calls made, but the exact duration of the connection, the signal strength of the cellular tower at the time of the call, and even the weight distribution on the passenger seat, which can prove whether the driver was traveling alone or accompanied by an unlisted individual. As we observe potential outcomes across these diverse demographics, the critical variable is always the permanence of data. In the current year of 2026, there is no such thing as true deletion in consumer electronics. Every system is built on a framework of continuous indexing and synchronization, designed to prevent data loss for the user, which simultaneously prevents data erasure for the litigant. The digital divorce journey is fundamentally a race to see who understands this infrastructure first, and who preserves the integrity of the data before it can be altered or corrupted. But what happens when this data tracking shifts from passive recording to active, aggressive financial concealment? What happens when a spouse moves past cloud backups in smart homes and begins using advanced digital encryption, decentralized finance, and anonymized peer-to-peer networks to actively vanish their wealth from the marital estate? In the next part of this masterclass, we will shift our focus from the physical tracking of locations and communications to the highly complex world of digital financial warfare, exploring the exact mechanics of forensic cryptocurrency tracing and the hidden online networks that are redefining asset division in modern American courtrooms. To fully comprehend the mechanics of digital financial concealment in 2026, one must look at the massive paradigm shift away from traditional offshore banking toward decentralized finance, non-custodial digital wallets, and alternative peer-to-peer asset ecosystems. In previous decades, concealing assets during a marital dissolution required complex international corporate structures, shell companies in specific jurisdictions, and complicit foreign banking institutions. Today, the process has been distilled into a completely decentralized, software-driven architecture that can be executed from a standard smartphone. However, while the methods of concealment have grown highly sophisticated, the forensic methodologies designed to uncover them have evolved at an identical pace. Imagine a scenario involving a tech sector executive based in Austin, Texas, whom we will call Michael. Anticipating a formal divorce filing in early 2026, Michael initiates a systematic plan to lower his apparent net worth and reduce his visible liquid capital. Over a 12-month window, he systematically diverts a portion of his monthly corporate salary away from his primary joint checking account. Instead of transferring these funds directly to another traditional bank, which would immediately trigger a flag during a routine asset review, Michael utilizes a sequence of automated microtransfers to fund multiple accounts on centralized digital asset exchanges. From there, he purchases liquid digital currencies, immediately withdraws those assets to a private, non-custodial hardware wallet, and interacts with various decentralized finance protocols to deposit the funds into liquidity pools, generating a quiet yield completely outside the view of standard banking networks. To a standard observer reviewing basic paper bank statements, these transactions simply look like ordinary, discretionary retail expenditures or minor investment losses. However, the step-by-step process of forensic digital asset tracing relies on the fundamental architecture of modern financial infrastructure, the intersection between traditional fiat banking networks and public blockchain ledgers. Case studies from recent family law proceedings indicate that the most critical vulnerability for any individual attempting to hide digital wealth is the entry and exit points, known as fiat on-ramps and off-ramps. A certified forensic accountant begins this investigative process by executing a meticulous, line-by-line audit of all traditional financial documents, including bank statements, credit card ledgers, brokerage accounts, and tax returns, specifically looking at interest income schedules and electronic fund transfer history. When the investigator identifies a transfer to a centralized exchange, a targeted legal discovery demand is issued to that specific platform. Under current federal regulations and Know Your Customer compliance frameworks in 2026, These centralized platforms are legally mandated to maintain exhaustive logs of user identities, linked bank accounts, Internet Protocol access histories, and the precise destination addresses of every digital asset withdrawal. Once the legal team obtains the specific public wallet address to which Michael withdrew the funds, the entire nature of the investigation changes. Because public blockchains operate as immutable, completely transparent digital ledgers, every subsequent transaction linked to that wallet address is visible to the public. Forensic analysts utilize advanced blockchain analytics software to map out the entire downstream flow of Michael's diverted assets. If Michael attempts to obscure the origin of the funds by passing them through a decentralized exchange swap, the software automatically tracks the smart contract interaction, identifying the exact type and amount of the new asset received. Even if the assets are transferred across multiple distinct blockchain networks, cross-chain tracking algorithms can match the transaction timestamps, values, and network fees to maintain a continuous chain of custody. Historical trends show that unless an individual completely disposes of the physical access keys and completely forfeits access to the capital, the digital trail remains entirely intact, waiting to be assembled into a comprehensive forensic exhibit for the court. Beyond the complex realm of decentralized finance, a much more common and pervasive method of digital asset concealment occurs through everyday digital payment applications and peer-to-peer platforms. Imagine if a spouse utilizes a network of alternative digital wallets to build a completely independent, parallel financial existence. Let us look at a case study involving an independent e-commerce business owner in New York, whom we will call Jessica. Jessica operates a successful online retail brand and decides to systematically underreport her business revenue during her marriage. To achieve this without altering her primary corporate accounting software, she establishes secondary, unlinked business profiles on payment processors like Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal, utilizing variations of her business name and alternative tax identification numbers. She routes a significant portion of her cash flow through these secondary accounts, using the accumulated balances to pay for personal lifestyle expenses, purchase high-value digital gift cards, or make direct peer-to-peer transfers to friends and family members under the guise of contractual business payments. When a standard asset division process begins, Jessica provides the court with her primary business bank statements, which reflect a stable but modest net income, effectively deflating the valuation of the business and reducing her potential spousal support obligations. The discovery of this network requires a specific, multi-layered electronic data discovery strategy. A proficient legal team will not rely on standard printed statements, which can be easily edited or selectively filtered. Instead, they request the native electronic data files, specifically requesting the comprehensive transaction history logs directly from the parent technology companies via specialized subpoenas. The underlying metadata within these payment processor logs reveals the complete operational reality. It uncovers linked mobile device identifiers, geographical locations where transactions were authorized, and the hidden sub-accounts associated with the primary user profile. Furthermore, forensic analysts cross-reference Jessica's personal shipping histories, digital marketplace accounts, and email receipt archives to match the influx of undeclared capital with her actual physical acquisitions. When these parallel accounts are exposed, the potential outcomes within a United States family court are profoundly disruptive to the offending party's legal position. Under established family law doctrines across various state jurisdictions, the intentional concealment of assets constitutes marital waste and a breach of fiduciary duty between spouses. When a forensic audit conclusively demonstrates that a party has actively hidden liquidity or manipulated financial records, the court possesses wide latitude to rectify the imbalance. Judges frequently execute a disproportionate division of the remaining, visible marital property, sometimes awarding up to 100% of a specific asset to the non-offending spouse to offset the diverted wealth. Additionally, the court can order the concealing party to pay all associated forensic accounting fees and legal costs, while completely disregarding their credibility in future hearings regarding child custody or ongoing financial support. This economic scrutiny is further expanding into non-traditional digital environments, such as high-value online gaming ecosystems, virtual collectibles, and digitized intellectual property rights. In 2026, substantial wealth can be stored within specialized online marketplaces, where virtual items, rare digital accounts, and in-game currencies possess highly liquid real-world valuations. Individuals attempting to park capital can purchase these assets, assuming family law courts will view them as trivial hobbies. In practice, however, modern forensic accountants view these digital holdings with the exact same rigor as a traditional collection of fine art or rare coins, demanding full access to digital profile registries and marketplace transaction ledgers to ensure a completely accurate accounting of the marital estate. As these financial systems become increasingly digitized, the line between an individual's economic reality and their online behavior has completely vanished. Every digital transaction leaves a permanent, traceable marker that can be retrieved, analyzed, and leveraged within a legal framework. The mastery of this financial data trail is what ultimately dictates the distribution of resources and security in the modern era. But what happens when this digital warfare extends far beyond bank accounts and asset tracing? What happens when the primary objective shifts from concealing wealth to actively destroying an individual's personal reputation, legal credibility, and parental standing through the strategic weaponization of digital communication? In the next part of this masterclass, we will step out of the financial ledgers and enter the volatile world of digital evidence manipulation, exploring how text message authentication, social media scraping, and the emerging threat of artificial intelligence and deepfakes are completely transforming modern child custody disputes and character assessments in American courts. This transformation shifts the focus of family law from traditional spoken testimony to the rigorous verification of electronic records. In 2026, the reliance on basic screenshots as primary evidence is rapidly declining due to the ease with which digital interfaces can be manipulated. Under modern legal frameworks across the United States, such as the Federal Rules of Evidence and corresponding state statutes, digital evidence is subject to strict authentication requirements. A party cannot simply present a printout of a text conversation and expect the court to accept it at face value. The court demands proof that the message is authentic, that it originated from the stated sender, and that the content has not been systematically altered or edited. This evidentiary hurdle has become a critical battleground because historical trends demonstrate that informal digital communications are the most common forms of evidence introduced in high-conflict custody disputes, yet they are also the most vulnerable to deceptive exploitation. Plus one. Imagine an adversarial scenario where a litigant seeks to completely undermine a co-parent's legal standing and secure an immediate restriction on child visitation rights. Let us look at a detailed case study from 2026 involving a graphic designer in Maryland named Thomas. Thomas was engaged in a highly contentious custody battle over his two young children. His ex-partner, seeking to establish a narrative of parental unfitness and emotional volatility, utilized a readily accessible web application designed to generate flawless mock-ups of mobile operating system chat screens. With this software, an individual can input any contact name, assign realistic cell signal and battery icons, select precise timestamps, and type out an entire fabricated dialogue that appears indistinguishable from a legitimate iMessage or WhatsApp thread. In this specific case study, the ex-partner manufactured a series of highly incriminating text messages where Thomas appeared to explicitly threaten violence, express resentment toward his children, and admit to violating an existing temporary custody arrangement. Instead of exporting the native chat database, the ex-partner took screenshots of the generated interface, printed them out, and submitted them to the court alongside an emergency petition for a protective order. The immediate potential outcomes of this submission were severe. The family court judge, operating under the necessity to prioritize child safety, based on the facial validity of the printed evidence, granted an ex parte temporary order that suspended Thomas's parenting time and forced him to vacate his residence pending a full evidentiary hearing. This scenario illustrates how easily low-complexity digital forgery can be weaponized to cause immediate, structural disruption to an individual's family dynamic before any technical verification can take place. To combat this fabricated narrative, Thomas's legal counsel had to initiate a meticulous, step-by-step digital forensic investigation. A qualified digital forensic examiner does not simply review a printed image or a digital screenshot, because an image file contains no inherent proof of its underlying source material. Instead, the expert issued a formal legal demand for the physical preservation and forensic extraction of the native device that supposedly received the messages. When examining a modern smartphone, the forensic process involves creating a bitstream physical image, or an advanced logical extraction of the device's internal storage. Most messaging applications store their structural data within specialized SQLite databases. Within these databases, every single message is assigned an immutable sequence number, an absolute Unix epoch timestamp, and a specific status marker indicating whether the message was sent, received, read, or modified. Furthermore, these databases are accompanied by write-ahead logs, which act as a real-time ledger of all recent modifications and deletions. When the forensic analyst examined the ex-partner's phone, the step-by-step database parser immediately revealed glaring logical anomalies. The sequence numbers within the SQLite database skip numbers entirely where the alleged text thread should have existed, indicating that no such data packets had ever entered the device's local database architecture. Additionally, a detailed analysis of the system's PLIS files and application usage logs revealed that the user had spent significant time accessing specific image generation web domains directly prior to taking the screenshots. The analyst also conducted a metadata evaluation of the screenshot image files themselves. While the user believed the images were clean, the exchangeable image file format metadata embedded within the digital photos revealed that they were created and edited using specialized software layers, exposing a direct mismatch with the native display resolution parameters of a standard unedited device capture. To provide definitive closure, the legal team took the technical investigation a step further by subpoenaing the mobile network operators and cellular carriers for the native call detail records and SMS gateway transaction logs. When a mobile device transmits an actual text message or exchanges data over a cellular network, the carrier registers the transaction at the network switch level, logging the international mobile subscriber identity, the cell tower location, and the exact global time packet. This network-level data exists entirely independent of the user's device and cannot be modified by any consumer application. When the carrier's certified logs were cross-referenced with the timestamps displayed on the ex-partner's screenshots, the records conclusively showed that 0 data packets had been transmitted between Thomas's phone number and the ex-partner's phone number during those specific windows of time. Faced with this unassailable forensic evidence, the family court completely dissolved the protective order, dismissed the ex-partner's custody claims, and issued severe legal sanctions against her for fraud on the court and perjury. Beyond the fabrication of text messages, modern family law disputes in 2026 are increasingly complicated by the practice of automated social media scraping and open-source intelligence aggregation. Legal teams routinely deploy specialized web scraping software algorithms to continuously monitor and harvest the digital footprint of an opposing party across dozens of public platforms, forums, and digital marketplaces. These automated tools do not merely copy visible status updates. They systematically crawl through public friend lists, comment histories on third-party pages, tagged photos uploaded by acquaintances, and localized geotag records. Imagine if a litigant claims in court that they maintain a sober lifestyle and adhere to strict financial budgeting to minimize spousal support demands. An automated open-source intelligence sweep can instantly extract historical metadata from a photo uploaded by a distant colleague at a resort, revealing through embedded global positioning system tags that the litigant was physically present at an expensive entertainment venue on a weekend they claim to be working. Even if the user deletes a post or deactivates an account, the data often remains preserved within Internet Archive caches or cached localized storage environments, providing an unedited behavioral record that can decisively impeach a witness's credibility during cross-examination. The most disruptive technological evolution impacting modern demographics in 2026, however, is the rapid proliferation of consumer-accessible generative artificial intelligence and synthetic media cloning tools. We have officially passed the era where forgery was limited to text or altered photographs. Today, advanced machine learning algorithms allow an individual to execute highly realistic voice cloning with less than 30 seconds of source audio. In high-conflict separations, this technology is being actively deployed as a form of synthetic cruelty, designed to manipulate child custody determinations. Litigants can extract clean voice samples from public social media videos, voicemails, or old family recordings, upload them into a generative voice synthesis platform, and type out a completely fictional script. The algorithm then processes the audio, perfectly replicating the target spouse's vocal pitch, unique cadence, regional accent, and natural breathing patterns to output a pristine audio file where the individual appears to admit to child abuse, substance dependence, or an explicit intent to flee the legal jurisdiction with the children. Plus one, this widespread availability of synthetic media has introduced a psychological and legal phenomenon known to researchers as the liar's dividend. As the public and the judiciary become increasingly aware that audio and video can be flawlessly manufactured by artificial intelligence, a profound dual crisis emerges within the family court system. On one hand, an innocent spouse faces the immense burden of proving that a highly convincing, damaging recording is entirely fake. On the other hand, A genuinely guilty spouse who has been caught making abusive statements or admissions of financial misconduct can now exploit the cultural anxiety surrounding artificial intelligence by falsely claiming that authentic, legally obtained evidence against them is simply a deepfake designed to frame them. This leaves family law judges in an incredibly difficult position, as they must navigate these complex technical claims within highly compressed court calendars, often lacking the immediate resources to distinguish between empirical reality and synthetic deception. +1. Unmasking these sophisticated artificial intelligence fabrications requires advanced digital forensic techniques that look far beneath human sensory perception. When an expert analyzes a suspected deepfake audio file, they perform a comprehensive waveform and spectral frequency analysis. Human speech contains organic irregularities, natural fluctuations in environmental background noise, and consistent acoustic interactions with the physical room layout. Generative artificial intelligence models, conversely, often smooth out these background noise profiles or introduce subtle, mathematical artifacts and phase discontinuities where the synthetic sentences are stitched together. Forensic examiners can map the noise floor of a recording to see if it remains unnaturally static across edits, or inspect video files for minute pixel-level mapping errors, irregular frame rate synchronization, and unnatural eye-blinking frequencies. This deep technical audit is the only definitive method to separate synthetic fabrications from historical reality, ensuring that child placement decisions are guided by truth rather than algorithmic deception. +1. As these digital tactics continue to escalate, the battleground of modern relationship dissolution becomes increasingly hostile and covert. The weaponization of digital evidence is no longer a passive exercise in gathering old emails. It has evolved into an active, high-tech operation where the boundaries of truth are constantly tested. But what happens when this conflict moves beyond the manipulation of existing evidence and enters the realm of real-time, active electronic surveillance? What happens when a spouse decides to turn the digital ecosystem into an active trap, utilizing hidden stalkerware, covert geofencing, and compromised smart home devices to monitor every private thought, movement, and legal consultation of their partner? In the next part of this masterclass, we will step directly into the shadows of digital espionage, exposing the exact mechanics of modern spousal surveillance, how spyware is silently deployed across personal devices, and the precise technical indicators used to detect and neutralize a covert digital tracking campaign. Entering this covert domain requires a precise understanding of the modern surveillance marketplace, where software tools originally designed for parental supervision or corporate enterprise management are actively repurposed for illicit spousal monitoring. In the United States family law ecosystem of 2026, this unauthorized digital interception has reached epidemic proportions, creating an environment where a spouse's most private thoughts, legal strategies, and confidential communications are laid bare before their adversary. To comprehend how this occurs, we must dissect the specific software delivery mechanisms and technical vulnerabilities that facilitate this level of intrusive access. Imagine a scenario involving a corporate accountant residing in Columbus, Ohio, whom we will call Emily. Emily has recently scheduled initial consultations with family law attorneys to discuss her potential outcomes regarding a marital separation from her spouse, Christopher. Christopher, sensing a shift in the relationship dynamic, decides to initiate a comprehensive surveillance operation to gain an information advantage before any formal legal documents are served. He does not hire a traditional private investigator to sit in an unmarked vehicle down the street. Instead, he executes a multi-layered digital tracking campaign utilizing commercially available spyware, commonly referred to as stalkerware. The step-by-step deployment of these surveillance tools generally follows two distinct pathways depending on the mobile operating system of the target device. On an Android platform, the installation typically requires brief physical access to the device. Christopher waits until Emily is asleep, bypasses the lock screen security using a PIN he previously observed her entering, and navigates to the system settings. From there, he enables the installation of applications from unknown sources, completely bypassing the official application ecosystem. He downloads a stealth application disguised under a generic system name, such as System Service or Battery Optimizer. Once installed, this application requests deep administrative permissions, specifically abusing the operating system's Accessibility Services API. By gaining access to accessibility frameworks, the spyware can read every piece of text displayed on the screen, log every keystroke entered across all end-to-end encrypted messaging applications, and capture periodic screenshots without triggering any visual indicators or user notifications. On an iOS platform, the methodology adapts to exploit the ecosystem's reliance on cloud synchronization or enterprise management tools. If physical access is restricted, Christopher can deploy spyware by compromising Emily's primary cloud credentials. By obtaining her password and temporarily accessing her device to clear the two-factor authentication prompt, he can configure a secondary, unauthorized cloud backup sync to an external server under his control. Alternatively, advanced variants of stalkerware utilize mobile device management profiles. Christopher can send a highly targeted phishing link to Emily's phone, disguised as a mandatory security update from her cellular carrier or employer. When she clicks the link, the system prompts her to install a configuration profile. Once accepted, this enterprise-grade profile grants Christopher remote administrative access to her entire device, allowing him to view her real-time global positioning system location, intercept call histories, and read local device storage archives. The operational reality of these applications is designed to be entirely invisible to the average consumer. The software operates deep within the background processes of the device, hiding its application icon, suppressing battery usage metrics within the standard system interface, and utilizing variable data transmission schedules to avoid detection by standard security utilities. However, despite this high level of obfuscation, the laws of physics and data transmission cannot be completely bypassed. Every surveillance application must eventually exfiltrate its captured data to a remote command and control server, and this data transmission leaves definitive technical indicators that a forensic examiner can identify. The first technical indicator of a compromised device is an anomalous spike in background data consumption. Because the spyware is continuously uploading audio recordings, screenshots, and location coordinates to an external server, the device's data metrics will reflect unusual activity, particularly during late-night hours when the phone is ostensibly idle. A user can audit this step by navigating to their network settings and reviewing the granular data usage per application, looking specifically for unidentified processes that have consumed significant gigabytes of data over a 30-day window. The second indicator relates to processing overhead and thermal dynamics. Running continuous location tracking, screen recording, and audio compression algorithms places a sustained burden on the mobile device's central processing unit. As a historical trend, infected devices frequently exhibit elevated physical temperatures, even when sitting completely idle on a flat surface. This processing strain causes accelerated battery degradation, where a device that previously maintained a charge for 24 hours suddenly depletes its power reserve within a fraction of that time. The third and most definitive method of detection involves a comprehensive audit of system privileges and configuration certificates. On an iOS device, a user must actively inspect the VPN and device management submenu within the General Settings tab. The presence of any unverified enterprise profile or mobile device management certificate is an immediate indicator of unauthorized external control. On an Android device, a technical sweep requires reviewing the device admin apps menu to identify any third-party application possessing the authority to wipe the device, lock the screen, or track locations globally. When these tracking operations are uncovered, the legal ramifications within United States courts are severe, governed by a complex intersection of federal and state wiretapping statutes. Under the Electronic Communications Privacy Act, the intentional interception of wire, oral, or electronic communications without the consent of at least one party is a federal offense. Historical trends demonstrate that when a spouse attempts to introduce evidence obtained via unauthorized spyware in a family court proceeding, the potential outcomes are universally detrimental to their case. Not only is the illegally intercepted data completely inadmissible under statutory exclusionary rules, but the act of deployment itself exposes the monitoring spouse to civil tort liability for invasion of privacy and potential criminal prosecution. Judges view the use of stalkerware as a severe escalation of coercive control, which directly influences judicial determinations regarding child custody allocations and the distribution of marital assets, as it paints an undeniable picture of bad faith litigation conduct. However, forensic consultants advise a highly calculated protocol when these technical indicators are discovered. If Emily immediately deletes the spyware or performs a factory reset on her device, she inadvertently alerts Christopher that his surveillance net has been broken. This immediate action often causes the monitoring party to remotely wipe their own command and control servers, permanently destroying the digital evidence of their illegal spying. Instead, the correct technical protocol involves preserving the device in its infected state, placing it into a shielded Faraday bag to block all incoming and outgoing wireless signals, and delivering it to a certified digital forensics expert who can create an authenticated, bitstream physical image of the drive to serve as an unassailable exhibit in upcoming court proceedings. As we observe these intrusive technologies evolve, the strategy of digital warfare continues to shift from passive data harvesting to active, psychological destabilization. The realization that one's personal device has been turned into an enemy asset introduces a profound layer of trauma to the divorce experience, redefining the boundaries of personal security in the modern age. But what occurs when this data surveillance moves beyond private mobile devices and into the formal corporate sphere? What happens when a spouse attempts to leverage corporate servers, business email archives, and workplace productivity software to track their partner or manufacture a false narrative of professional misconduct to limit alimony exposure? In the next part of this masterclass, we will transition from personal consumer electronics into the highly regulated environment of corporate electronic data discovery, exploring how employment data, business communication networks, and corporate subaccounts are systematically subpoenaed and analyzed to uncover the ultimate truth in high-stakes demographic separations. This corporate transition marks a critical turning point where the boundary between a professional career and a personal marital dispute is completely obliterated. In the United States landscape of 2026, many high-earning professionals mistakenly look at their workplace digital infrastructure as a secure sanctuary. The underlying assumption is that because a spouse lacks direct physical or credentialed access to a corporate network, any communication, financial planning, or behavioral pattern occurring within that environment is permanently shielded from the divorce process. This assumption represents a profound misunderstanding of modern electronic discovery laws and corporate data retention protocols. When a family law dispute escalates into significant financial or custody battles, the corporate digital footprint becomes one of the most heavily subpoenaed and revealing sources of empirical truth available to forensic investigators. To understand the scale of this vulnerability, let us analyze a detailed 2026 case study involving a senior vice president of clinical operations at a major medical logistics corporation in Boston, whom we will call Amanda. Amanda was navigating a complex, high-stakes asset division with her husband, Mark. Recognizing that her impending performance bonuses, restricted stock units, and deferred compensation packages would significantly increase her financial exposure during the separation, Amanda initiated a series of confidential discussions. Instead of using her personal mobile device or home email, she routed these conversations entirely through her corporate Microsoft Teams account, her corporate Outlook email, and internal enterprise Slack channels. She specifically communicated with her company's chief financial officer and human resources director, requesting a structural modification to her 2026 executive compensation agreement. Amanda strategically requested that her substantial performance bonuses be deferred into the subsequent fiscal year, and that her scheduled restricted stock unit vesting dates be delayed until after the projected date of her final divorce decree. Her explicit objective was to present a deflated current income profile to the family court, thereby reducing her potential spousal support obligations and shielding a massive portion of her actual wealth from the marital property division matrix. Amanda assumed that her corporate communications were completely protected by enterprise security protocols and internal corporate privacy policies. What she failed to realize is that corporate data belongs exclusively to the corporate entity, not the individual employee, and corporations must strictly comply with valid third-party legal subpoenas. When Mark's legal team identified a mismatch between Amanda's historical career trajectory and her suddenly declining income reports, they did not rely solely on her self-reported financial affidavits. Instead, they issued a comprehensive third-party subpoena Dutses Tecum directly to the legal and compliance department of Amanda's employer. The step-by-step execution of a corporate electronic discovery demand in a modern family law context bypasses the employee entirely. Upon receiving the formal legal demand, the corporation's internal legal counsel is required by federal and state retention mandates to issue an immediate litigation hold. This internal administrative action instantly freezes Amanda's entire digital footprint across the enterprise network. It completely overrides the company's standard automated data deletion cycles, preventing any manual purging, archiving, or modification of emails, chat logs, or calendar entries. Once the litigation hold is established, specialized corporate electronic discovery software, such as Relativity or Xtero, is deployed to systematically harvest the target data clusters. The technical extraction process pulls native electronic data files rather than static visual images. For Amanda's corporate emails, the software extracts complete message files along with their comprehensive transport metadata headers. For enterprise communication platforms like Slack or Microsoft Teams, the system exports the data in a raw JavaScript object notation file format. When forensic data analysts process these files, the depth of exposure is total. In modern enterprise software environments, deleting or editing a chat message does not erase the underlying record. The corporate compliance vault retains a permanent, chronological audit trail that documents the original text, the exact millisecond of any subsequent modification, the edited text, and the unique device identity from which the change was authorized. When the forensic team parsed Amanda's Slack and Teams data, the step-by-step analysis revealed a precise, unedited timeline of asset manipulation. The compliance logs exposed direct messages where Amanda explicitly detailed her intent to alter her compensation structure specifically to evade marital property laws. The metadata also revealed that she had used her corporate calendar to schedule unlisted meetings with financial planners to coordinate the movement of capital into corporate sub-accounts. Faced with this unassailable digital paper trail extracted directly from the corporate archive, the potential outcomes for Amanda were catastrophic. The family court judge rejected her deflated income claims, imputed a significantly higher earning capacity based on the deferred bonuses revealed in the e-discovery, and ordered Amanda to pay the entirety of Mark's forensic legal costs due to her documented attempts at asset concealment and fraud on the court. Beyond internal communication platforms, corporate electronic discovery routinely uncovers hidden marital assets through the deep auditing of corporate expense accounts, digital travel registries, and procurement profiles. Imagine an executive who routinely uses a corporate credit card or an enterprise expense management system like Concur to fund a parallel lifestyle, support an extramarital relationship, or purchase high-value luxury items that are subsequently classified as business overhead. Historical trends demonstrate that during a routine financial review, a deceptive spouse may present clean personal bank statements, while the actual capital diversion is occurring silently within the corporate ledger. A forensic investigator untangles this web by executing a cross-reference digital audit. The process involves matching the executive's corporate credit card transaction history with their digital calendar invites, GPS telematics from corporate vehicles, and automated travel itineraries stored within corporate booking portals. If the corporate expense report indicates a luxury dinner for two categorized as client development, but the corporate calendar reveals no matching business appointment, and internal communication metadata shows the executive was messaging a non-business associate at that exact timestamp, the expenditure is quickly classified as marital waste. The court can then systematically claw back the value of these diverted corporate funds, adding them directly back to the non-offending spouse's ledger during the final distribution of property. Furthermore, in the current year of 2026, the rise of remote and hybrid corporate work environments has introduced a new layer of digital evidence: workplace productivity and presence tracking metadata. Enterprise networks continuously log employee logins, virtual private network access locations, keyboard activity metrics, and video conferencing participation histories to optimize operational efficiency. In contested family law cases where a party claims they are working standard 80-hour weeks to justify a lack of parental availability, or conversely, claims they have been downsized and are unable to find employment, these productivity logs provide an absolute, data-driven verification mechanism. A subpoenaed VPN log can instantly prove that a spouse was physically operating from an undisclosed resort location while claiming to be confined to an office workspace, completely destroying their behavioral credibility before the court. As these corporate auditing mechanisms become standard practice in high-income demographics, the capability to maintain an isolated, parallel professional existence has entirely evaporated. The enterprise network acts as an objective, permanent archivist of every negotiation, every transaction, and every hidden motive. But what happens when this high-tech digital conflict shifts back from the structured corporate office into the most intimate spaces of the domestic environment? What happens when an adversarial spouse moves past corporate servers and begins utilizing the highly connected Internet of Things infrastructure inside the family home to execute a campaign of remote digital lockouts, smart home manipulation, and psychological algorithmic isolation? In the next part of this masterclass, we will return to the physical household, entering the volatile territory of smart home weaponization and digital coercive control, exposing how connected thermostats, automated security grids, and smart appliances are being turned into direct tools of domestic intimidation in modern American divorces. This domestic battlefield manifests as an invisible, omnipresent layer of anxiety within the very structures meant to provide security and shelter. In the United States landscape of 2026, the rapid adoption of unified smart home ecosystems has inadvertently created a highly potent mechanism for non-physical intimidation, which family law experts classify as digital coercive control. A residential property is managed by an interconnected web of smart locks, automated climate systems, wireless security cameras, and networked appliances. The individual who maintains primary administrative ownership of the digital network possesses unprecedented power over the physical environment. During a volatile marital separation, historical trends demonstrate that this technological asymmetry is increasingly exploited to execute campaigns of psychological destabilization, ambient harassment, and remote exclusion, all without the perpetrator ever setting foot on the physical property. To understand the exact mechanics of this modern phenomenon, imagine a scenario occurring in a highly automated suburban residence in Denver, Colorado, in early 2026. Let us look at a resident named Linda, who has recently served her spouse, Brian, with formal divorce documentation. Brian has physically vacated the marital home and relocated to a temporary apartment across the city. However, during the initial construction of their smart home years prior, Brian was the individual who established the primary master account on the central smart home automation hub, which integrates their smart thermostat, security grid, lighting systems, and connected home appliances. Linda was merely granted guest user access or restricted operational profiles on her personal smartphone application. When the legal separation initiates, Linda attempts to secure her environment by changing the physical keys to the deadbolts and altering the primary password to the household Wi-Fi network. She assumes that these traditional security measures are sufficient to isolate her living space from external interference. This assumption fails to account for the architecture of modern Internet of Things ecosystems, operating on current standards like the Matter protocol and cloud-to-cloud API integrations. Because Brian remains the registered master administrator of the cloud-based smart home accounts, his smartphone retains an active, authenticated cryptographic token that communicates directly with the manufacturer's remote servers, completely bypassing the local Wi-Fi network configuration. Over a sequence of weeks, Linda experiences a series of seemingly erratic, highly disruptive environmental anomalies within the home. At 2 o'clock in the morning, the master bedroom lights suddenly flash at maximum intensity before plunging back into darkness. The smart thermostat, operating via remote overrides from Brian's smartphone application, systematically adjusts the ambient temperature, dropping it to 55 degrees Fahrenheit during a freezing winter night, or elevating it to 85 degrees during the afternoon. The smart home's automated audio system randomly initializes at high volume, broadcasting distorted static or unsettling audio tracks through recessed ceiling speakers in the middle of the night. Furthermore, the automated security grid becomes a source of constant tactical irritation. Every time Linda exits or enters the property, the external smart lock chimes, or the automated garage door cycles open and closed arbitrarily. The external security cameras, equipped with motorized pan and tilt functionality, visibly rotate to follow Linda's physical movements across the yard, clicking audibly as they capture real-time video feeds that Brian can monitor remotely from his apartment. When Linda contacts local utility companies or consumer technical support lines to report these malfunctions, she is informed that the system is operating perfectly according to the commands sent by the verified primary account holder. The psychological potential outcomes of this continuous remote environmental manipulation are devastatingly calculated. The objective is often to induce a state of chronic sleep deprivation, paranoia, and emotional exhaustion in the target spouse. In many historical trends observed in high-conflict litigation, the perpetrator utilizes this distress strategically. If Linda calls the police or reports to a family court judge that her house is behaving maliciously, or that her lights are turning themselves on and off, but she lacks direct technical proof, the adversarial legal team can attempt to paint her as emotionally unstable, paranoid, or suffering from a psychological breakdown. This manufactured narrative is then leveraged during child custody evaluations to argue she lacks the mental stability required to maintain primary placement of the children. Exposing and neutralizing this sophisticated form of digital domestic abuse requires a precise, step-by-step digital forensic audit of the residential internet infrastructure and IoT hardware. A certified digital forensics examiner begins this process by executing a comprehensive capture of the home network's primary router configuration. The analyst pulls the complete dynamic host configuration protocol reservation tables and reviews the system's network address translation logs. This step allows the expert to map every single device physically or wirelessly connected to the property, identifying hidden network bridges or unauthorized wireless extenders that may have been planted inside the home prior to the separation. Next, the forensic investigator shifts focus to the cloud interaction layer. Because every smart home command sent remotely must pass through an external server infrastructure, the manufacturer of the smart device maintains an immutable event log within their corporate databases. The legal team issues targeted subpoenas to companies like Google, Apple, Samsung, or specific smart appliance manufacturers, demanding the native, unedited user access logs for the master accounts linked to the home's serial numbers. When these native logs are extracted, the step-by-step data analysis completely dismantles the illusion of system malfunction. The logs reveal a precise chronological sequence of events, documented in Unix epoch timestamps, showing entries such as command initiated via remote cloud API action, set target temperature to 55 degrees, source IP address 172.x.x, user ID Brian Master Admin. The forensic expert then takes these source IP addresses and cross-references them with subpoenas issued to cellular network carriers or commercial internet service providers. This allows the investigator to definitively match the exact moment the household environment was disrupted with the precise physical location and device footprint of Brian's smartphone or workplace computer. In the current year of 2026, the legal framework across the United States is rapidly evolving to address these technological abuses. Historically, traditional domestic violence and harassment statutes required a showing of physical force, explicit verbal threats, or physical stalking. Today, an increasing number of state jurisdictions are successfully expanding their statutory definitions of non-physical domestic abuse to explicitly include digital coercive control and electronic environmental harassment. Case studies from recent family court proceedings demonstrate that when a forensic audit conclusively establishes that a spouse has weaponized smart home infrastructure, the potential outcomes involve immediate, severe judicial intervention. Judges are increasingly issuing emergency protection orders that explicitly mandate the immediate termination of the offending party's digital access tokens and command the complete transfer of primary account administrative rights to the occupying spouse. Furthermore, a documented campaign of digital coercive control can profoundly influence child custody determinations, as family court judges interpret the remote manipulation of a child's living environment, temperature, and sleep schedules as a form of direct parental misconduct, reflecting a complete inability to prioritize the welfare and stability of the family unit. As these connected consumer technologies continue to permeate every aspect of modern domestic life, the necessity for comprehensive digital hygiene at the onset of a relationship breakdown is paramount. The traditional advice of changing physical door locks is entirely obsolete in an era governed by wireless data streams and remote administrative credentials. But what happens when this digital conflict moves past environmental control and enters the deeply sensitive arena of the children themselves? What happens when an adversarial spouse decides to turn the children's own modern consumer electronics, such as smartwatches, educational tablets, and hidden GPS tracking tags, into tools of active surveillance and parental alienation? In the next part of this masterclass, we will enter the highly emotional territory of digital custody battles, exploring the exact mechanics of child device tracking, the forensic detection of hidden tracking hardware, and how modern American courts regulate the use of children's personal data as a weapon in high-stakes custody litigation. This transition shifts the focus directly onto the most vulnerable participants in any demographic separation: the children. In the United States landscape of 2026, the weaponization of consumer electronics has penetrated the boundary of childhood innocence, transforming standard toys, educational equipment, and personal safety wearables into active espionage nodes. When parental trust completely fractures, the physical custody exchange is no longer viewed merely as a transition of parental responsibility, but as a potential border crossing where illicit data-gathering hardware can be smuggled back and forth between households. Historical trends show that as adults become increasingly sophisticated at securing their own personal mobile networks and cloud profiles, adversarial spouses systematically pivot their surveillance efforts toward the items physically carried by their children, exploiting the legal and technical vulnerabilities of youth-oriented technology to execute a proxy campaign of domestic intelligence gathering. To analyze the exact operational mechanics of this practice, let us examine a deeply complex custody dispute occurring in Austin, Texas, involving a couple named Kevin and Rachel and their 8-year-old daughter, Chloe. Kevin and Rachel were operating under a temporary joint custody arrangement, where Chloe alternated weeks between each parent's respective residence. Rachel sought to establish a definitive case that Kevin was violating the geographical restrictions of their temporary order and exposing Chloe to environments that were unapproved or unstable. Rather than attempting to install spyware on Kevin's heavily encrypted corporate device, Rachel targeted Chloe's personal belongings. Imagine a scenario where a parent utilizes an ultra-miniaturized Bluetooth low-energy asset tracker, measuring less than an inch in diameter and weighing a fraction of an ounce. Rachel meticulously cut open the inner lining of Chloe's favorite school backpack, inserted the tracking tag directly adjacent to the structural plastic support panel, and resealed the seam with professional fabric adhesive. Additionally, she activated the continuous location sharing feature on Chloe's child profile cellular smartwatch, which was funded and managed under Rachel's primary cellular family plan. The technical execution of this type of child device tracking relies on a highly pervasive network architecture. A Bluetooth low-energy tag operates by continuously emitting a short-range wireless beacon every few seconds. This beacon contains a unique, mathematically encrypted identifier that does not require a direct cellular internet connection to function. Instead, the beacon is detected by any passing smartphone, tablet, or smart home bridge that participates in a global crowdsourced asset-finding network. The passing device automatically reads the beacon, pairs it with its own active global positioning system coordinates, and silently uploads this compressed data packet to a centralized cloud repository via the background data stream of the innocent passerby. Rachel could then open a native mapping application on her device from across the state and view Chloe's physical location in real time, mapped down to a radius of a few feet. This allowed her to completely chart Kevin's movements, identify the exact physical addresses of his associates, determine the precise times he arrived at and left his residence, and document every recreational venue visited during his allocated parenting weeks. The discovery of this covert surveillance infrastructure typically occurs when the monitored parent identifies a pattern of unnatural behavioral responses or highly specific communications from their ex-partner. In this case study, Kevin noticed that Rachel consistently sent confrontational text messages regarding Chloe's exact location within minutes of them arriving at non-routine destinations, such as an out-of-town park or a specialized medical clinic. Recognizing the high probability of an active tracking element, Kevin initiated a comprehensive technical screening of Chloe's belongings through a certified digital forensics firm. The step-by-step protocol for detecting hidden tracking hardware requires a strict departure from manual visual inspections, as modern tracking devices can easily be disguised as ordinary clothing buttons, zipper pulls, or embedded deep within the injection-molded plastic of toy casings. The forensic examiner begins the technical audit by isolating the target items within a radio frequency shielded enclosure, commonly known as a Faraday chamber. This step is critical because it blocks all external wireless pollution from cellular towers, local Wi-Fi routers, and passing consumer devices, creating a completely clean electromagnetic environment. The technician then introduces a localized spectrum analyzer configured to scan the 2.4 GHz industrial, scientific, and medical band, looking specifically for periodic, low-amplitude frequency hopping signals that manifest at predictable millisecond intervals. Once a broadcasting signature is confirmed, the technician utilizes a specialized near-field antenna to measure the received signal strength indicator values across the surface of the items. As the antenna passes over the lower structural seam of the child's backpack, the signal strength spikes dramatically from -90 decibels to -20 decibels, confirming the exact coordinates of the hidden hardware. Once the physical device is extracted, the forensic progression moves to the logical data layer. The technician logs the unique hardware identifier of the tag and runs a continuous network packet capture to document the device's media access control address rotation patterns. To ensure the evidence is admissible under federal rules of evidence, the examiner generates a forensic image of the device data, validating it with a unique ES256 cryptographic hash value to prove that the extracted data has not been modified. To address Chloe's cellular smartwatch, the expert executes an advanced logical data extraction using mobile forensic software. This process parses the device's internal application configurations, background daemon logs, and location services registries. The analysis reveals a persistent, hidden background script that had been configured to bypass the standard user interface notifications, ensuring that while the child was using the watch for basic educational games, the hardware was simultaneously executing high-frequency global positioning system pings and transmitting the geofence coordinates directly to an external server under Rachel's exclusive administrative control. When these technical findings are compiled into an authenticated forensic report, the potential outcomes within United States family courts are profoundly disruptive to the tracking party's legal position. Under modern judicial interpretations of family law and state privacy acts in 2026, the covert digital tracking of a child to monitor the opposing parent during their court-ordered parenting time is classified as a severe form of parental misconduct and an explicit violation of the non-monitoring parent's constitutional right to familial privacy. Historical trends show that family law judges heavily penalize this behavior, flatly rejecting the defense that such measures were implemented out of an abundance of caution for the child's physical safety. The evidentiary impact of exposing a hidden tracking campaign completely alters the trajectory of a child custody determination. Judges interpret the intentional transformation of a child into a walking surveillance device as a form of emotional abuse and a demonstration of extreme bad faith. The potential outcomes include an immediate, permanent modification of the temporary custody allocation, resulting in a substantial reduction of Rachel's parenting time, and the implementation of strict supervised visitation protocols. Furthermore, the court can issue an explicit injunction prohibiting Rachel from providing any electronic devices, wearables, or toys to the child moving forward, while awarding sole digital and educational legal custody to Kevin. This grants Kevin the exclusive legal authority to manage the child's online profiles, device access, and data footprints, effectively neutralizing Rachel's capability to weaponize the child's technological presence. Beyond physical asset tracking, this digital conflict frequently extends into the administrative layer of children's educational and medical data systems. In 2026, school districts and healthcare networks utilize integrated software portals that track student check-ins, parental portal logins, IP addresses, and document download histories. An adversarial parent can exploit shared access credentials to these platforms to execute a passive tracking campaign. By monitoring the exact timestamps, browser user agent strings, cookie sessions, and localized Internet Protocol addresses generated when the other parent logs in to check homework assignments or review medical charts, they can infer the geographic location and daily routine of the family unit, even if the victim has entered into a state-managed address confidentiality program designed to prevent domestic stalking. Forensic investigators must systematically audit the access logs of these institutional portals, applying advanced data visualization techniques to isolate anomalous login locations and autonomous system numbers that deviate from the established custody schedule, thereby ensuring that every digital pathway used to compromise parental security is thoroughly documented and legally closed. As these intricate custody battles conclude, the digital divorce journey transitions into its final, most enduring phase. The legal decrees may be finalized, and the physical tracking devices neutralized, but the massive volume of digital data generated during the conflict remains permanently inscribed across the digital universe. What happens when the focus of the separation shifts from immediate asset tracking and active custody disputes to the long-term preservation of personal and professional standing? How do modern individuals execute a complete post-divorce digital cleanup, legally enforce social media non-disparagement agreements, and protect their careers from the permanent, unedited record of an online marital war? In the next part of this masterclass, we will step into the critical aftermath of the separation, exploring the exact mechanics of digital reputation management, data erasure protocols, and the legal enforcement of modern online boundary clauses in the modern era. Executing this post-decree stabilization requires moving past the standard legal declaration of dissolution and entering the realm of systemic network restructuring. When a family law judge finalizes a divorce decree, the court effectively severs the legal and financial bonds between two individuals, but it leaves the complex, invisible web of shared digital infrastructure completely intact. In the current year of 2026, the post-divorce landscape is heavily plagued by a technological phenomenon known as residual digital access. This occurs when an individual fails to systematically audit and sever the deep technical links that bind their personal identity, professional access, and daily data streams to their former spouse. Historical trends indicate that a vast majority of post-decree litigation stems not from structural disagreements over physical assets, but from the unauthorized monitoring of data feeds, the exploitation of legacy access points, and highly calculated online reputation attacks that occur long after the formal legal proceedings have concluded. Imagine a highly precise scenario involving a prominent fintech software director based in San Francisco, whom we will call Charles. Following a highly contentious litigation cycle that concluded in early 2026, Charles received a favorable ruling regarding his retention of key equity shares and independent intellectual property rights. Believing the conflict was entirely behind him, Charles focused on rebuilding his professional life and preparing for an upcoming venture capital funding round. However, his former spouse retained a deep-seated resentment regarding the distribution of marital resources. Rather than violating the explicit physical terms of the court order, she initiated a highly sophisticated digital smear campaign designed to systematically erode Charles's professional credibility and tank his upcoming corporate valuation. To execute this operation without leaving an obvious trail, she exploited a critical technical vulnerability that Charles had entirely overlooked during his post-divorce transition: legacy application permissions and third-party open authorization tokens, commonly referred to as OAuth tokens. Years prior, Charles had linked his personal music streaming profiles, fitness trackers, and secondary email accounts to various shared smart televisions, family tablets, and home automation systems. Even though Charles had changed his primary passwords immediately after the divorce was finalized, these active OAuth sessions remained completely valid on the physical hardware his ex-spouse retained. An OAuth token functions as a persistent digital key that allows an application to access user data without requiring the master password or triggering a new login notification. By utilizing these active tokens, the former spouse was able to passively monitor Charles's daily schedule, note his physical activity patterns, and observe his shifting consumer habits in real time. With this intelligence, she established a network of anonymous professional profiles on corporate review platforms and underground industry forums. She systematically leaked highly sensitive, carefully curated snippets of internal communication data, personal text messages extracted during the early discovery phase, and altered performance metrics, framing Charles as an erratic, unstable executive who regularly compromised client confidentiality. The immediate potential outcomes of this coordinated campaign were disastrous for Charles's professional standing. Within a 72-hour window, venture capital analysts conducting routine digital due diligence flagged the anonymous allegations, pausing a multi-million-dollar funding round and initiating a formal corporate governance review. This case study demonstrates that a legal victory in family court is entirely meaningless if an individual remains digitally compromised in the commercial sphere. To neutralize this existential threat, Charles had to execute a rigorous, step-by-step digital identity audit and remediation protocol. The first step in this technical process involves the complete revocation of all active session tokens across every major identity provider. A user must navigate to the advanced security console of their primary email engines, enterprise suites, and cloud repositories to review the connected applications registry. This requires systematically clicking through the authorized third-party applications list and selecting the explicit option to revoke access for any utility that is not entirely vetted and isolated under exclusive personal control. This single administrative action instantly invalidates every active cryptographic token deployed globally, forcing any device attempting to sync data to present fresh, uncompromised credentials alongside a multi-factor authentication prompt. The second step requires a complete restructuring of the multi-factor authentication recovery pathways. Historical trends demonstrate that a common vector for post-divorce system intrusion is the exploitation of account recovery mechanisms. If an individual changes their password but leaves a secondary recovery email address or an old family phone number linked to the account security profile, the adversarial party can simply execute an account recovery request, bypass the primary credentials, and re-establish complete control over the digital environment. Forensic experts mandate that individuals systematically update their recovery parameters, transitioning away from short message service-based authentication, which is highly vulnerable to SIM swapping or shared family plan interception, and adopting standalone, hardware-based security keys or encrypted authenticator applications tied exclusively to a newly established, isolated mobile device profile. Furthermore, the modern digital cleanup must extend to the sweeping removal of personal data from the commercial data broker ecosystem. In 2026, platforms operating under advanced state privacy frameworks, such as the California Delete Act, provide individuals with enhanced statutory mechanisms to demand the global erasure of their aggregated personal histories. Deceptive individuals frequently utilize consumer data brokers to monitor their ex-spouse's newly established physical addresses, unlisted telephone numbers, and vehicle registration logs. Executing a step-by-step cleanup involves deploying automated data removal protocols that systematically issue legally binding opt-out and deletion directives to hundreds of specialized data aggregation networks, effectively scrubbing the individual's physical and digital coordinates from public-facing search systems. The final and perhaps most critical element of this post-divorce stabilization is the formal structure and technical enforcement of social media non-disparagement and online boundary clauses within the settlement agreement. Modern family law contracts in 2026 have shifted away from vague prohibitions against saying negative things online. Contemporary legal teams draft highly specific, technically precise clauses that define disparagement through empirical digital metrics. These agreements outline explicit restrictions regarding the publication of any image, text, or audio involving the former spouse on any public platform, including personal blogs, professional networks, and anonymous discussion forums. To ensure compliance, these clauses are backed by severe liquidated damages provisions, establishing a predetermined financial penalty for every individual violation, which can scale exponentially based on the metric footprint of the post, such as the total view count, shares, or duration of the publication. Enforcing these digital boundary clauses requires a robust chain of forensic custody. If Charles discovers an anonymous post that aligns with his former spouse's historical communication patterns, his legal team cannot simply present a screenshot to the court. They must deploy forensic web capture software that complies with international data preservation standards. This software captures the raw source code of the web page, records the network routing paths, indexes the embedded metadata, and applies an immutable digital timestamp and cryptographic hash to the container file. This technical package proves to the court that the evidence is authentic and has not been altered via browser editing tools. From there, forensic analysts can trace the underlying origin of the anonymous publication. By analyzing Internet Protocol address allocations, tracking browser user agent strings, and utilizing specialized subpoenas to uncover the account creation logs from the host platform, investigators can link the supposedly anonymous profile directly back to the physical device and network infrastructure utilized by the former spouse. When this connection is established, the family court possesses the authority to enforce the liquidated damages penalties, stripping the violating party of their spousal support payouts or executing an immediate offset against their remaining marital property distributions. This meticulous management of the digital aftermath is what separates individuals who successfully transition into an independent future from those who remain perpetually entangled in a cycle of digital conflict. The modern divorce journey does not truly conclude when the judge signs the final order. It concludes when your digital identity is completely secured, isolated, and fortified against external interference. But as we reach the culmination of this comprehensive masterclass, one final, overarching question remains. How do we take all these disparate elements, the cloud ecosystems, the hidden cryptocurrency tracing, the artificial intelligence deepfakes, the corporate electronic discovery, and the smart home vulnerabilities, and synthesize them into a single cohesive, forward-looking strategy for the modern digital landscape? What are the emerging technological shifts that will define the next decade of family law? And how can the modern American citizen completely insulate their personal, financial, and emotional future from the threat of digital weaponization before a relationship ever breaks down? In the final part of this 10-part masterclass, we will pull back the curtain on the future of relationship infrastructure, exploring the rise of cryptographic prenuptial agreements, decentralized personal identity structures, and the ultimate roadmap for digital sovereignty in an increasingly hyperconnected society. This systemic synthesis requires moving past the reactive defense methodologies of the past and entering a paradigm where relationship infrastructure is coded for security from its very inception. The convergence of cloud data harvesting, forensic blockchain tracing, synthetic media manipulation, corporate enterprise discovery, and smart home ambient surveillance has rendered the traditional legal framework of marriage highly volatile. When every aspect of a human life is continuously digitized, cataloged, and archived, entering a legal union without a matching digital architecture is an extreme vulnerability. In the United States demographic landscape of 2026, forward-thinking individuals are completely abandoning the historical trends of retroactively scrambling to secure devices during a separation. Instead, they are initiating a profound shift toward proactive technological insulation, utilizing cryptographic prenuptial agreements, self-sovereign identity structures, and decentralized data networks to establish absolute digital sovereignty long before any marital friction manifests. To understand how this advanced future framework operates step by step, imagine a scenario involving a tech sector infrastructure architect based in Seattle, whom we will call Alexander. Preparing to enter a legal marriage in late 2026, Alexander refuses to rely on traditional paper-based prenuptial agreements, which historical trends show are frequently subjected to intensive, multi-year litigation regarding disclosure transparency and execution intent. Instead, Alexander and his partner retain specialized digital asset attorneys to construct a cryptographic prenuptial agreement deployed directly onto a decentralized blockchain ledger network. This cryptographic contract translates the qualitative terms of a standard legal agreement into immutable, self-executing software code lines. The step-by-step operational mechanics of a cryptographic prenuptial agreement rely heavily on decentralized data feed structures known as oracles. These oracles act as secure digital bridges that constantly verify real-world financial data without human intervention. The smart contract is permanently linked via secure application programming interfaces to the couple's respective independent bank accounts, traditional brokerage portfolios, corporate equity vesting trackers, and decentralized digital wallets. Throughout the duration of the marriage, the contract automatically records encrypted metadata snapshots of each party's separate property foundations, anchoring these validation markers onto the public ledger using secure cryptographic hashing algorithms. Because the ledger is immutable, neither party can later claim that assets were hidden, undervalued, or manipulated at any point during the marriage relationship. If a separation-triggering event occurs, such as a formal legal filing registered via a synchronized court database data feed, the cryptographic prenuptial agreement executes immediately. The smart contract automatically initiates the precise, pre-programmed asset distribution, routing independent digital currencies, corporate share allocations, and fractional property deeds to the respective parties' isolated non-custodial wallets based on the mathematical logic established years prior. The potential outcomes of this automated execution are revolutionary for the legal sector, as it completely eliminates the necessity for traditional financial discovery, forensic account auditing, and prolonged courtroom battles, transforming a process that historically took years into a transaction completed within a matter of minutes. Simultaneously, the modern demographic shift in 2026 is driving the widespread adoption of decentralized personal identity structures, completely decoupling an individual's digital existence from centralized big tech ecosystems. Throughout the previous decade, the primary vulnerability for citizens navigating a marital breakdown was the single point of failure inherent in unified accounts like Apple ID, Google Workspace, and primary cellular carrier family networks. If an adversarial spouse managed to compromise a single master password or exploit a shared cloud data backup, they instantly gain total access to the partner's entire life, including real-time location histories, communication streams, and biometric tracker data. Self-sovereign identity models completely dismantle this centralized surveillance risk by utilizing decentralized identifiers and zero-knowledge proofs. Consider a detailed case study from mid-2026 involving a biomedical consultant in San Diego named Victoria. Victoria established an independent self-sovereign identity model years prior to her marriage. In this structural environment, Victoria's personal data is not stored on centralized corporate cloud servers where it can be intercepted, subpoenaed, or leaked via shared family devices. Instead, her digital credentials, personal identification records, medical histories, and financial statements are cryptographically fragmented and distributed across an independent, end-to-end encrypted storage network like the Interplanetary File System. To log into her bank accounts, access her corporate systems, or communicate with legal counsel, Victoria utilizes a localized hardware security module embedded within her physical device, which generates a single-use zero-knowledge proof. This advanced cryptographic protocol allows the receiving network to instantly verify that Victoria is the authorized user without ever transmitting her actual password, email address, or underlying personal data across the open internet. When her relationship ultimately fractured and her spouse attempted to deploy automated web scraping algorithms, initiate a corporate electronic discovery sweep, or compromise her cloud backup files to find leverage for a custody dispute, the adversarial systems returned absolutely nothing but encrypted, randomized data packets. Victoria's digital identity remained completely impenetrable because there was no centralized vault for her partner to attack, proving that complete digital isolation is the ultimate shield against the weaponization of modern consumer technology. The final phase of the roadmap for digital sovereignty requires a systematic restructuring of daily operational habits, establishing a permanent boundary between shared marital conveniences and individual data pipelines. Forensic analysts advising high-net-worth individuals in 2026 outline a strict protocol that must be maintained throughout the life cycle of any relationship. This involves the complete prohibition of shared master profiles on primary home automation routing hubs, the isolation of streaming and utility accounts under independent payment cards, and the strict use of localized, non-synchronized hardware tokens for all personal device authentications. Furthermore, modern individuals are increasingly utilizing localized network-attached storage arrays that run open-source, non-cloud software, ensuring that physical security footage, personal photos, and sensitive financial documents never enter a third-party server environment where they can be quietly harvested during a standard third-party legal discovery demand. As we look toward the next decade, the evolution of family law within the United States will be entirely dictated by this continuous arms race between data weaponization and cryptographic insulation. We are moving rapidly into an era where artificial intelligence models will be routinely deployed by judicial circuits to analyze massive datasets, predicting the optimal structural outcomes of child custody arrangements and equitable property distributions based on historical demographic trends and real-time biometric indicators. In this hyper-quantified legal environment, the individuals who possess a clear, data-driven mastery of their digital footprint are the only ones who will maintain complete autonomy over their financial stability, professional standing, and parental rights. This complete 10-part masterclass has exposed the hidden architecture of the modern American divorce journey, charting the trajectory from the silent data traps embedded inside cloud networks to the high-stakes battlegrounds of decentralized finance, synthetic media manipulation, and smart home coercive control. You now possess the comprehensive empirical understanding required to navigate this invisible matrix and defend your personal sovereignty in an era where your devices hold the ultimate transcript of your private life. But while these advanced cryptographic safeguards and architectural frameworks provide an unparalleled defense against the digital realities of the current year, an even more disruptive, entirely unexamined frontier is rapidly emerging just beyond the technological horizon. The sudden convergence of spatial computing environments, direct neural interface wearables, and tokenized synthetic relationship algorithms is quietly creating an entirely new category of digital marital property and behavioral evidence that modern family law frameworks are completely unprepared to govern or understand. In our upcoming advanced bonus workshop series, we will step directly into this next chaotic dimension, exploring the terrifying reality of immersive spatial surveillance networks, the legalities of virtual estate embezzlement within the metaverse, and the exact technical protocols required to protect your consciousness and secure your neural data streams from being divided in a future American courtroom.